Hi, I'd like to welcome everybody. Today with me, I have, to the 20R9 release webinar. Um, with me, I have Komoncharoensiri, the Director of Technical Services, and Mathieu Ferry is here to answer any technical questions we may have or other, personal even, for about 40, about the new, about Qodly or or 40 Qodly Pro or the AI for 4D plugins. So in this session, it's great to see y'all. We like to do these every 3 months when we have a new release. We're starting to do these before the actual release in order to incite you guys, y'all to download the latest version and have a play with the new features. You're all partners. You have access to the beta. So 20R9 is currently in beta. It's going to go into production pretty soon, in a few weeks or so. And don't hold me to a date. And yeah, so hopefully this inspires you to do that. So a little bit of the agenda that we're going to be having today. We're going to start with 40 Qodly Pro, where we have exciting news and some really cool demos to share. Next, we're going to go on to AI for 4D and have a special sneak peek about what's the developments and the AI, what's been going on with and how the team has been working with AI to make your applications better. Next, we're going to explore what's new for you developers, diving the latest enhancements to the 40 development environment. And then we're going to pop into a 40 View Pro and then deployment. So before we get started, yeah, and without further ado, let's start with 40 Qodly Pro. So last time we announced that 40 Qodly Pro beta was over, and 40 Qodly Pro is now production ready. With your 40 partner silver contract, you can develop Qodly pages without limitation, deploy them together with your 40 app on your existing 40 server. Think of 40 Qodly Pro as another access point for your end users. You already provide them with desktop forms and client server. Now you can propose them nice, slick, and modern and responsive web pages. Your business logic remains the same, and your data remains the same. And if you have a project and you don't know where to get started, we are the team is going to we have a Qodly 40 Qodly Pro customer success team, and they're here to answer all your questions. And if you'd like to talk with someone from the team about your project, feel free to book let me send this to everybody. Feel free to book a meeting with Ayub Metwali and his team on this via the Calendly interface, and then you can speak to him about whatever project you may have in mind. And don't be surprised if today you see a lot of demos of 40 features that are illustrated actually with with Qodly pages instead of the traditional 4D. This means that Qodly pages are just like any other type of forms, just similar to desktop forms. And this is perhaps the most important information to take away with you after this webinar. Your 40 code can be used in both 40 desktop forms and Qodly pages. You can now propose to your end users to use your application either through web desktop forms or web forms. So really cool advances in 4D. And as we said, 40 Qodly Pro is production ready, but of course the work isn't over. We're continuously improving 4D and 40 Qodly Pro, and I want to give you two quick insights into important features that are currently under heavy development. Order events will give you absolute control of your entity's lifecycle. They will go further than classic triggers and perfectly blend in your Order data classes. And 40 Qodly Pro continues to evolve, and the next important feature we'll ship is Qodly Pages localization. We're working on an efficient and user-friendly way to internationalize any 40 Qodly Pro application and ensure your pages and layouts are hosted smoothly and displayed smoothly the way you want them in a variety of languages. So two very cool things. And more 40 Qodly Pro news, Thomas Small will soon host a 40-minute webinar demonstrating how to quickly and easily add web browser-based forms to your 40 business applications with 40 Pro. You won't want to miss this one. Thomas Mall always has great insights. He has a wealth of knowledge in 4D and Qodly Pro and everything 4D, and we're really excited about this free webinar. But let's not finish the 4D Qodly Pro news without a demo. On top of the UI components shipped by default with 4D Qodly Pro, Qodly technology allows you to build your own. But okay, you'll need a little bit of React skills to do this, but never fear. You can benefit from the custom components 4D is already sharing on GitHub. And the main takeaway for you is that Qodly technology gives you the possibility of extending your UI, and this is also an area where the customer service team can help you. Today, I want to share a quick demo, maybe not that quick, but a really interesting demo to show you how easy it is to grab and use some of these custom components from your project. And Mathieu was the person who made this demo. And if there are any questions about it after, we can definitely ask him.
So I will show you in this little demonstration how to leverage custom components in a Qodly Pro application. So here for the example, I retrieved from the internet a JSON file containing Space Invaders location in Paris, in the city of Paris mostly, so with the name, latitude and longitude. I've prepared this structure here with name, identifier and so on, and I wrote this little piece of code to import them in my database. So I execute the program and I check in my data explorer that I have properly loaded this list with all the coordinates. So let's now open Qodly Studio. And the first thing I will do is to create a page called list. And here, very simply, I will put a title, invaders list. I decorate it a little bit, but that's not the point of the demonstration. And I paste here a drag and drop, a data table. I create my Qodly source invaders. It's an entity selection, and the data class is Space Invader. I put it on my data table, and then I will map those columns. So you already know that. I showed that in the past several times already. Once I did so, I can preview, and here, okay, the data is there, no problem. That's it. But as I have latitude and longitude, what I want is to display everything in a map. So I duplicate my page, create a page called map. So the title now is Invaders Map, and here I remove this by default in Qodly Studio, but I will upload it as a new component. So here, when you open that, you have the link to learn how to create your own custom component if you know a little bit of React. But here we'll use an already prepared component that I will find in the appropriate GitHub site, GitHub repository. And you have here a Qodly map component. So you get here the documentation, but here we download the component itself. Back in the studio, I can now upload my custom component. I install it and I reload my Qodly Studio. That's it, and now I have this custom component loaded in my library. I drag and drop it. I will adapt a little bit the width and the height of this component. And now I map the invaders Qodly source, so the same as previously. Remember, I duplicated my page. I specify here the latitude and longitude fields of my data class, and for the tooltip I put the name. Okay, I set some more things in the component. So for the zoom 50, it seems okay. We'll show all markers, and I adapt here the group distance for the grouping of items, but they are very grouped, so you will see that they will be grouped anyway in the map. And for the icon, a little rocket seems appropriate. Now I can run this page, and you can see that I have my Space Invaders location on the map, so I can go and chase them in the streets of Paris. Okay, we're going to add a little cherry on the cake. I add here a text component, and the idea will be to show the name of the selected invader in the map. So I will name that selected invader. Name here, and in fact I will simply here create the entity I will use, invader. I create it, and I will map it to the map component. I will associate it to the map component. Just before I put the name here, just by drag and drop it. And here in the map, in the current position, I select the invader entity. That's it. Now when I run this page, you can see that the selected invader is put in the entity, so you can use your map as a selector. All right, that's nice. Let's go a little bit deeper now. I want to create a landing page for these two pages, so I will create a main page, and with a title here, my Space Invaders map. I decorate it a little bit, center, and the size of the font. I use here a page loader that will be used to load either or other page. By default it will open on the list page. You see it works. And I want to use a little pop-up menu to switch between both pages. But this pop-up menu is not available by default in Qodly Studio, but don't worry. You have something quite appropriate in our library here of custom component. So same principle, you have the doc, and you can download the component itself and upload it here. The studio reloads, and you get now a new icon in your library of components. You drop it, and here the idea will be to customize a little bit this pop-over menu, so we can give it some radius and some color. Let's put it blue, and the text white. Great. The title will be my menu. Very original. And now the idea here, I will display the menu itself in the canvas. You see here it's a little bit outside of the canvas. It's because of the alignment. So I can say here that I want it bottom left. That's better. And here I can do whatever I want. I could put icons, could put buttons and so on, but very simply here I will just create two entries, one for the list and the other for the map. For the list entry, let's put here a navigation event to the list page, and it should navigate in the page loader below. I will copy this event and just paste it for the other menu item, just like that. And I just have to select the map page now. All right, just to be clear, I will change the cursors of everything, so I can select here the cursor property of each item and put it to pointer. This list, I want to make it a little bit nicer. I will put a width of 400 and I can adapt it a little bit. For example, I will make it a little bit more transparent, and here I will give it a border so I can see it a little bit more, and that's it. But really you're free of what you want to do with this area. Now I will unselect this on my canvas, and I'm ready. I can just preview everything in the studio now, and this menu allows me to switch from the map to the list. So that was a quick example of what you can do with those two custom components, but there are dozens of other custom components ready to use. And just to give you the idea that you won't be blocked with the components that are shipped with Qodly Studio. You can build your own if you have some skills in React, or we can help you with our customer success team, with perhaps also professional services. We can help you build your own if you don't find what you need in the default library. So that's it. Thank you very much.
That was great. Thank you, Mathieu, for that. I see nobody has any questions at
Oh,
all.
I have a
Same.
question. Yes, yeah,
Okay, go for it. Oh, there's one question. Okay.
I can see one question I can answer.
Yeah, go for it.
So the question is, can you use Auth2 logins for Qodly, with Qodly for user authentication prior to taking a license? The answer is yes, absolutely. You have to activate what we call the force login mode. Just have a look at the blog for this or the documentation. The force login mode allows you to display a Qodly page on the end user browser on this device without consuming any license, provided you don't try to access data and so on. Anyway, until an authentication is made, until you run the session.setPrivilege function, no license will be taken.
Yeah.
And this together with for the NetKit, you can use for the NetKit to perform the host2 authentication, or you can implement it by yourself if you prefer with HTTP requests. It's working. In fact, we did so no later than I don't know 2 weeks ago for an internal app.
Okay, so the question was, can you use OAuth2 logins with Qodly server authentication prior to taking a license?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes, you can.
Yeah.
You can log in, you can have Qodly displaying a page with certain settings in your application. We reviewed this in the blog.
Yeah.
And then you can set the privilege and you can force a login once you log in.
Okay, there seems to be another question on top.
Yeah, does Qodly run off the web interface of 4D server?
Run off the web interface. Off the web, yes, it's off.
The web server, I guess.
I don't know what you mean exactly by the web interface of 4D server. Yeah, it's using the web server, but also the REST server. If you mean the Qodly pages, yeah, they are running aside, but they are using the web server, yeah, of course. But it heavily relies on the REST interface. Another question, I believe for the generates web pages, though I only use for the client server in our system, just curious. In fact, in this case, we explained that in the past, but maybe it's interesting to do a little bit of a reminder, but 4D does not generate web pages when you use Qodly. A Qodly page is nothing else than a JSON file with lots of things inside, where Qodly Studio will write down what are the rules, what are the events, what will let's say describe everything. Then, when the end user will visualize this Qodly page, in fact, there's something that is automatically downloaded by your web browser. You had nothing to do. This is something that we call the renderer, and it will render the JSON file. So between your 4D server and the end user device, the JSON file is transmitted only, and it is then rendered locally on the end user's device. And the renderer is in charge of then orchestrating REST queries, querying data, receiving data, presenting them on the page based on the rules and the layout you defined.
The person asks, so the end user only needs a browser to access and use a 4D application.
Exactly. The end user has nothing else to install than his web browser, and he already has a web browser. So he has nothing else. He has nothing to install, and it's interesting because you don't have to deal with end users' devices updates. I mean, you don't have when you update your app, your Qodly pages, you just overwrite the JSON files. So you just deliver them, with whatever mean you want, and then you press refresh on your browser, and you have the latest version of your page. So there's no hiccup, no heavy things to do to update your pages. In fact.
Okay. Someone asks, this is an interesting question. Can you please speak to the security of Qodly produced pages?
It's a very general question, but I could try to give a rather general answer. In fact, speaking of Qodly Pro made application, most of the security will be done using role and privileges setups. So this you can use the screen we provide in Qodly Studio, or you can edit the JSON file manually if you want, but it's a little bit of a pain. It's a very, very granular way of defining privilege. You can define a lot of things. And basically, doing so, you really protect your REST server. And you will define that this function can only be executed by this privilege. And when you authenticate a session, for example, using host2, like we said earlier, you recognize the person authenticated. You have somewhere his role, and you just assign the role, and the role comes with all the privileges. And an unauthorized person cannot view data. It's really deep in the core of the 4D engine. So whatever it does, it cannot access data, or it cannot execute, or it cannot write, or it cannot execute that function or the other. So the this is the way you can deal with security using a Qodly pages, in fact. Oh, a lot of questions.
And the next one is, how does the end user receive the renderer?
In fact, just by entering the URL to any Qodly page of your server. It's totally transparent. It's a very small piece of JavaScript or React.
And then the next one is this available in an R version or LTS? So all of the new features that we're seeing right now is on the R releases. So
in fact, it's available officially since 20R2, and it will be in the next LTS, so meaning 21.
So thank you there. How does it how does it handle responsivity, I guess, responsiveness, sorry.
You can deal with media queries. It's a little bit by yourself at the moment, but what I didn't show in that demo, but there are other demos available online. You can assign whatever CSS you want, and you can just program the CSS you want and assign them to the page, to a button, to a style box, whatever you want. So at this moment, you can produce responsive pages like that. We don't. The studio at this moment does not particularly specifically help you. I mean, you don't have a preview with this device or this other device. This is something we have in the roadmap. But you can right now produce responsive pages. Yeah.
Yeah, through the media. So from what you've always done, right, with your media queries.
Yeah, I guess if you are familiar with with CSS, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And then this is an interesting question. As we discussed this a little bit yesterday as well in a meeting. It'd be nice, Kirk's asking, it'd be nice to be able to display Qodly in a web area, in a form.
Yeah.
So have it pointing and pointing and pointing to itself. Thoughts on that, Mathieu?
Yeah. And the rest of the question is interesting. There's a little bit of a user story. Why would to do that? It would make it possible to develop a set of forms that are the same within 4D and Qodly. This makes transitioning. Yes, I totally agree. And this is a plan. We are starting the work on that. It's not impossible today to display a Qodly form in a web area. You can do so. The only problem at this moment is that it will consume 2 licenses. So we are starting that work. In fact, cannot tell you when it will be done. I'm crossing fingers for 21, but we have so many things for 21. But I agree, it would make transitioning much easier. And also we will provide, it's already possible to do some kind of deep linking. So for example, you could have your list of invoices in a list box and clicking on an invoice, having the invoice detail in a Qodly form, for example, that kind of stuff in a web area, staying in your app. And yes, it would help transitioning. I mean, you could propose web pages to your end users together with your desktop page and slice thing little by little. I agree. We all agree. It's just a matter of time for us. It will come.
And then the next one is, does Qodly run in source or compiled mode, or I guess interpreted or compiled mode? Does compiling make it faster, but can you still edit the Qodly forms? So I think.
It will work in compile. I don't want to do. I worked a lot in interpreted, especially for its cloud counterpart. I guess you could compile your app, merge it, and it should run. I'm a little bit sorry, I don't have all the detail. If it is compiled, you won't be able anyway to edit the forms themselves. But the forms are coming in the web folder, so they are not compiled as such, the forms themselves. But you can merge everything into a single application and compile the rest of your app. Will it run faster? It depends on the kind of code you run. Yeah, it will run faster, but the queries themselves, they will work faster. The forms, they won't run faster.
It's a good question. Perfect.
Oh, you understood. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. If anything comes up during, we have Mathieu for the first half of this. Next is some big news, AI for 4D. So actually, let me go back to AI for 4D. So we don't have a specific agenda for or topic for 4D Write Pro, but in fact, 4D Write Pro got a major addition in 20R9 with its new writing assistant. Here we go. And I'm going to post this in the chat for you to look at, hopefully after we're talking. Where's the chat, everyone? And this is a great opportunity to share with you Roland's webinar detailing 4D Write Pro and all the new features that have come into, all the new major features that have come in 4020 in the R release. So the session also covers the writing assistant that we're going to be presenting you today. So if you want to catch up really briefly and get a really good deep dive overview of all of the new features in 4D Write Pro in one location, I suggest you review that webinar. And then writing just got a little bit easier and a major upgrade in 4D Write Pro. With 20R9, we now introduce an AI power writing assistant right inside your document editor. And whether you need to rephrase, correct, summarize, or even translate, AI is here to help you in real time directly from within your 4D environment. To activate it, you simply need to set your Open API key using the WP Set AI key. And once configured, a new AI button appears in the Import Export tab, giving you instant access to AI tools. Now, what can you do? You can chat with AI to generate ideas, fix grammar, or rewrite content. Use predefined prompts like summarize, translate, check grammar, or rewrite. And choose how to ensure AI's response, raw, stylized, or just copy it. You can also get a request history, so you can easily revisit past prompts and responses and insert content where needed without losing track. But why? Okay, my question was, why would I use 4D? Why would I use 4D within 4D instead of switching to just a ChatGPT client application? So the reason for this is everything stays in your 4D environment. No more switching between the apps. You get to interact directly with the 4D Write Pro content. No copy and paste or formatting loss. And also, this is just the first step, and there's going to be many more feature improvements going forward. So, and here's a quick demo that I have to show on this. So bear with me.
Hello everyone! We have integrated a writing assistant into 4D Write Pro based on artificial intelligence. This allows you to generate text, reformulate a sentence, or check the grammar of your document. In the toolbar, the functionality is located in the Import-Export tab. To activate the button, you need to enter your OpenAI key using the WSetAI component method. The button is now visible. Here the chat window. Let's type a prompt. Can you write me a sample specification for a school renovation? Send. The answer appears. Here, these various buttons allow you to insert text into the Write Pro area either in raw or styled format. You can also copy the content to the clipboard in either format, raw and styled. Now let's insert the text into the document. That's it. Make cleanup. OK. We have also a list of pre-configured prompts for the most common requests: summarize, translate, rewrite, and check the grammar. Let's select a paragraph and ask to rewrite the selection. Send. Here, a new proposition. Insert document, and the selected text is automatically replaced. Finally, when the last feature use the full feature, the history display on the side, it lets you easily return to previous requests. Now it's up to you and your customer to play with this new feature. Thanks!
That was pretty cool. So, and next, let me introduce a major step forward in Forty's AI journey, Forty AI Kit, our new component for integrating OpenAI capabilities directly into your Forty applications. With just a few lines of code, you can now bring AI-powered features like image tagging, content generation, moderation, and vision analysis straight into your app, visual analysis. No external tools required. So you can build chatbots, generate content, you can analyze images, you can create visuals on the fly. You can flag inappropriate content for moderation if you have a, let's say, a forum type thing in your application. You can combine, and you can also have advanced workflows like combining text and vision for social media, e-learning, and automation. So why would you use AI Kit in 4D instead of an external scripts or platforms? Well, everything is native. Again, everything is native in 4D. Your AI workflows run in your 4D logic, UI, and your context. You benefit from full control over execution, user inputs, and data handling, and you can scale easily, secure API usage, and create responsive user experiences. And with 30 ready-to-use classes, you can start building real use cases right away. And we'll be sharing even more business-oriented examples soon. This is just the beginning. AI Kit is here to supercharge your apps with AI. And this feature is still in the early stages of development. You can expect major enhancements. And I have another really great demo from David Azanko, and he'll be able to show you how he was able to build a really interesting application.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today for this webinar. And now it's time to talk about a very exciting and timely topic, artificial intelligence in 4D development. We're going to explore how the new 4D AI Kit component empowers you to bring powerful AI features into your 4D application. But first of all, what exactly is 4D AI Kit? AI Kit is a built-in 4D component that gives you direct access to OpenAI models. And the great news is that it's not limited only to OpenAI models, as it also supports other AI providers that use an API format compatible with OpenAI formats, like, for example, Qwen or DeepSeek, that are following the OpenAI format. In short, with AI Kit, you can easily integrate features such as text generation, image analysis, visual content creation, real-time moderation, and much more. But let's explore a real-world use case to see just how powerful AI Kit can be. Imagine you need to tag images in your app to make them searchable. It can be a task that could take hours of manual work, but with AI Kit, it's completely automated. So the main concept is that images are analyzed using the vision models, and relevant keywords are generated and applied as tag. So let's see it in action right now. So here I've built a really nice application using Qodly, and I have a gallery of images here. So you'll notice there that all images are already tagged here. Clicking on any image reveals its top 6 tags here. And more importantly, you can search here and filter images instantly using these tags. So for example, if I want to have only pictures that have vibrant color, I just tap vibrant here. And I want also to have games. Okay, so here I've only one picture that have vibrant and game tags here. Okay, so let's delete that, and let's see how to add tags to a new picture here, just clicking on the add button. So with this screen we have 3 buttons here. Picture URL that works with picture URL. Here I can just use pictures that I have locally on my disk, and AI pictures we'll see just after how it works. So first of all, I'm gonna paste here picture URL that I have selected here, which is a really nice and cute picture, and I'm gonna paste that here. And as you can see, within seconds, AIKit allows you to analyze the image and generate relevant tags. You can also here upload some pictures. So I've prepared a nice picture here, really nice, and I'm gonna get my app and just drop it in the field, and again click on the upload and generate tags button. And as before, for the picture URL, I have here relevant tags that have been generated. And finally, the AI picture, which is the best part of the demo, so stay focused. Here you can create brand new images from a text prompt. So I'm gonna take a prompt that I've prepared here. Okay, coffee mug placed on a window still during a storm day. Okay, really nice picture will be generated, and I'm gonna paste my prompt, and there I'm gonna click again and just wait a few seconds to have a really nice picture already tagged with a tagged and picture that are going to be saved directly into my 4D database. Really nice picture. Okay, with really nice tags here that are available. So back to my search screen, I'm gonna scroll down to see if my picture have been saved. Yeah, so this one with the top 6 tags that are available on the top. Okay, nice, and this one. Okay, so this is really nice. And now let's have a look at a piece of code that I used to get tags from the API using the AIKit component. Okay, so as you can see, it's really easy to use AI API to get some data. So in the first line, I just create a new OpenAI client instance using my API key. Then I define the prompt that will be sent. Basically, it asks for 10 to 20 keywords, space separated with no extra text. And then I send the image using the vision model with the image URL and the prompt. And finally, I just extract and process the keywords from the AI response. And by the way, you can find the full demo on GitHub if you'd like to try it yourself. Now let's look at another very useful feature which is automatic content moderation. So I'm going to launch a new demo to demonstrate the functionality in action. So open my project, recent moderation. Okay. And I'm gonna launch my app right here. Okay, so this app has been realized on Qodly also, and here you can imagine like a basic forum interface where here we have Elise Martin that posed a question about AI Kit. Basically, she asked if it can detect inappropriate content. And someone very nice is going to answer her with a very polite message here. So I'm gonna type yes, of course, and I'm gonna reply. And it's Luke Morrow, which is a very nice person that answer. And here you can see that nothing to flag, so the message is automatically validated. Now let's simulate a more hostile response. So I hate you, and click reply. And here, as you can see, Jean Dupont has been flagged, and AI Kit instantly detects and flags this message as inappropriate. So let's look at a piece of code again here. And yeah, we're gonna switch to the other one. I'm gonna close that. And again, the code here is quite simple. With 3 lines of code, you can moderate content and flag inappropriate messages. So first, like before, I just create a new OpenAI client instance with my API key here. Then here I send the forum comment to the moderation endpoint and get a moderation response using the AI Kit component. And finally, here I check if the content is flagged as inappropriate. Here it's just a boolean that I get to display if the content is appropriate or not. So in just 3 lines of code, you can protect your user and maintain a safer environment. So as you can see, AI Kit can be applied across a wide range of business scenarios, and it can be incredibly useful in areas such as, for example, invoice processing or inventory management, customer support or localization. So it's a very nice tool to get your app to the next level. So back to my presentation here. So the 40 AI Kit component is seamlessly integrated within the 40 environment, making it easy to add AI capabilities to your project. It supports multiple AI providers, giving you flexibility and choice. And with dozens and powerful ready-to-use classes, it accelerates development across a wide range of applications. So if you build something great with AI Kit, let us know, and we'd love to feature your work in a blog post, webinar, or customer success story. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the webinar.
Well, that was a pretty cool demo, and hope you guys are as inspired as I was when I saw that demo for the first time. It's pretty cool to see how it all works together. There's some questions. What do you need for this? You need an open API key or something similar. Many of the LLMs have a similar API, open API style API for you to be able to access them. So the 40 NetKit AI kit is made to make that simpler.
Yeah, and just to be a little bit more detailed, AI Kit at this moment implements the OpenAI API, which is in fact shared by a lot of actors out there. So you can use Mistral or DeepSeek or whatever and use their API key.
Very cool.
They are documented in our documentation. So please have a look at there. You will see the most common partners that you can use. And there are ways, we are exploring ways to also use with AI Kit some local LLM that you would use, you would download, so to avoid using a cloud partner. We have so many things to do, so we may issue some kind of tutorial in the future. If you are interested by that, what I already answered is that you can file a feature request. In fact, we are doing a lot of things for AI, and we are kind of also expecting your feedback, what you would expect also from us. So for this, the best way is to file a feature request on the forum and to discuss it. There's a lot of path that we could pursue, and doing too many things at the first time is the best way to end up to be slower. I mean, so if there's one lead that you would prefer us to follow, the best way to tell us is to tell us through the forum.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you, Mathieu. And then some Angel asked a question. In ServerNet, if there's a drop-in connection for a client, the client gets a write failed error. How does Qodly handle the drop-in connection? Does it flow similarly, or since it's using a web interface at REST, it'll authenticate the next time it attempts to fetch data? So Mathieu responded, you can lose connections temporarily. I guess Qodly pages work different than client server. You can lose connections temporarily without a problem. The use web session remains active on the server side. In the next release of 4D, the end user gets a visual indicator notifying them if they lost connection. Of course, if they try to use a button mapped to a REST query while not connected, an error will be raised. But when connection comes back, it works again. So that's pretty good. It's a little bit more fault resistant, I guess, than a traditional client server.
I don't know. It's different. It's different. It's a different way of working. And yeah, also to be very specific, there's no re-authentication needed when you lose connection. If your session is maintained server side for 1 hour, and the session it is mirrored, let's say, locally on your web browser. So when connection comes back, you're still authenticated, no problem. You don't have to re-authenticate after you lose connection and it comes back.
Yeah. And then Aubrey asked a really good question as well. How does the AI integration for Write Pro work with having inserted 4D formulas or functions in the document?
Yeah, I started to write something, but I was interrupted. In fact, at this moment, the companion does not know about formulas or functions. It just generates content, text, raw text or style text, and you can paste it in your document as new content or to replace a content. As you saw in the demo, you can select a portion of text and ask the companion to improve it or to rephrase it. Honestly, at that moment, I don't know what happens if you have functions or formulas. They may be just scratched. It's possible at this moment, at this stage of implementation of the companion. So once again, if this is something you would like to be maintained, if you would like the AI to maintain this kind of stuff, and if it is important for you, it would make you use the feature. Please tell us on the forum.
Yeah. Thank you, Mathieu. Okay. So, and you may have heard the term vectors in the context of AI or natural language processing. Without going into too many technical details, the key idea is that vectors help us compare complex things like words, documents, or even user profiles in a smart mathematical way. At 4D, we're currently working on a new type of object in the database to make this type of analysis easier. This type of object is called a vector. And it can be much more easily used to integrate with your applications. And in the chat, I'm going to drop another link to a very good 4D method meeting that was done by Mathieu and Damien. And Mohammed Idrisi provides a really, really interesting example of the usage of vectors and how you can use them in your application to query your application in a much more free-flowing way. So thank you guys for the work on that. And I hope that everybody that's interested in AI and would like to integrate AI features into their application looks at this demo to kind of give you a taste. So
Yeah,
by
I can add maybe one last thing. There's
all
no
means.
more question, but maybe I could add an exclusive comment, an exclusive news for this webinar. Something we didn't even disclose in the French webinar I hosted, I don't know, last week. Just in the next 4D feature release, so coming half July, you will see the first step towards 4D vectors. So you will have a way to compute vectors and to compare them with cosine similarities. For example, if you are into AI, you may know that. So it's not just marketing what we show in the 4D method. I guess many of you were attending the 4D method. So the first step is done. In fact, we finished it a few days ago, and it will be delivered in the next 4D feature release.
Wow, that's really cool.
Together with very nice demos that will go further than what you can what you can see, sorry, today with David's demos. You will be able to do very funny fuzzy searches, for example, or things like that. So
Awesome.
the idea, you will be able to get a prompt from the user, vectorize it, and compare it against vectorized data in your database to retrieve the closest items corresponding to this prompt. This is what you will be able to do in the next for the release, and in the future, in the following one, you will also be able to add that into real queries, for example, order queries with support vectors.
Cool. Well, I look forward to that. That's really interesting. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing, Mathieu. Let's talk about 4D NetKit. From the beginning, 4D NetKit's goal was to make OAuth to Google and Microsoft 365 integrations easier for your desktop apps. And that's why it included its own very own little web server inside of it. It took care of the back and forth with the OAuth 2 services for you. But if your app is mainly or only web-based, you might not need that extra web server at all. And good news for you, starting with 20R9, you can now have the OAuth 2 responses sent straight from your main server, sent straight to your main web server. No need to rely on NetKit's internal one anymore. So how does this work? If the redirect URL you use matches your host web server's port, or if you don't specify a port, then NetKit will automatically use your main server for the callback. If the port's different, it'll fall back and it will continue using its own internal server in the NetKit component, just like before. In order to make this work, you'll need to set up your root in your HTTP handlers JSON file, as explained in the blog posts. So why is it cool? It simplifies your setup. You don't have to deal with an extra server port, and you keep full control over your HTTPS and domain handling. And you avoid exposing an internal server that you may not need. So, and now let's talk about the first step towards simplifying Google and Microsoft 365 calendar integration. So with the 40 NetKit functions introduced in 2009, developers can now seamlessly integrate Google and Microsoft 365 calendar data directly into their 40 applications. This means that they can authenticate using OAuth 2.0 and then easily fetch calendars and events, making it really simple to build features like event listings, schedules, or reminders. We made the API as consistent as possible across both platforms to save you time and to reduce complexity. And this is just the beginning. We plan to expand this integration further, opening up even more opportunities for your application. And I'm going to pass the torch to Ad, and he will share with you a really cool demo he made for this.
All right. Hi, guys. So just to give you a little bit of a background, so this is kind of a continuation from the previous webinar demonstration that we did for Gmail, that we were able to access Gmail labels and folders and information that allows you to be able to manage your email better. So with the calendar, it's in a similar fashion. So I'm going to start with something very basic, okay? So this is just a very simple code and very straightforward because I want you to see the information that we received from the NetKit through this whole process. So the top part here, this is similar to what we've done in the past with the Gmail, accessing all of the mail label, except the only thing that's different is the scope. Instead of the email, now we're accessing calendar, and there are different scopes that you can apply to the calendar depending on what you want to do. You can feel free to take a look at additional documentation. But for this time, we'll keep it very simple. We're just going to grab everything, and we're going to use the browser to sort of allow us to do the authentication. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm putting a breakpoint here so you can see when it comes back where the information is going to be. I'm going to run this demo. So it opened up the web browser because I don't have anything handling in the backend manually. So by myself. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and authenticate. And as soon as it's authenticate, you see the debugger pops up. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this browser window. Scroll up a little bit. So this is the first step that we're going to do. We're grabbing the calendar. How many calendar does you have in your Google calendar? Or this is the process is similar when you're trying to acquire calendars from Microsoft 365 as well. So I have 3 calendars available in my own account. So I can choose to go into each one of them and grab its events, right? And the events that I can get can be defined by, a range of dates and other information as well. In this case, I'm going to grab every single one of the events that belongs to a calendar. So, okay, so you can see that the events variable is now populated, and these are the events that you will be able to receive. So I'm going to expand one of them. There are many information that you can use for. So at this point, you decide what to do with this information. And, in many cases, you may want to inject into your own database or build your own calendar. In some cases, you can even send it to the web front end. Now, on our blog, there is a very nice demo that demonstrates this feature using Qodly Calendar. In my case here, I'm going to do a little bit different. I believe, several years back, we released something that is called Event Manager or Calendar on the website as a demo database. So I'm actually running that database right now. I'm going to integrate this particular feature into my demo. So I have this simple method right here that is going to do the demonstration the same way as what you saw earlier, but in a different fashion, which is now I'm opening everything in the context of 4D. This is part of the 4D form. And in here, this is a web area. Okay, so what happened here is as soon as I authenticated myself, I did the same thing, download all of the calendars and its events and populate it into this calendar. So the integration here is we're using the framework called Full Calendar. Again, you can find out how this is done by just downloading the example application. Okay, so you can see all of these events are now downloaded from Google, and you can see that we're utilizing the framework to display this calendar, and everything is very simple and straightforward. The point of this feature is, once you grab the data from Google or Microsoft 365, you decide what to do with it. In this case, I choose to go with something that's already available that you can use right away. Okay. Again, just want to point out if you want to look at a different example using Microsoft 365 Calendar, there is an example with the integration with Qodly available online on blog.40.com. Okay, that's it. Back to you.
Thank you, Ed, for the really cool demo, and nice to see using the old demos with new features, and it's really cool. The dependency next is we're going to talk about the dependency manager, known as the component manager, and that continues to evolve in 20R9. One of the standout improvements is the follow 40 version rule. This feature allows your components hosted on GitHub to automatically follow the version of your 40 project. No more manual checks or version mismatches. The right component version is selected for you. That means less manual work, fewer compatibility issues, and more stability. Everything stays in sync, even across version changes. Now, 4D, we've already implemented this system in our official components on GitHub with properly tagged releases that the dependency manager can resolve automatically. And the best part, you can do the same thing for your own custom environments. Just follow the simple naming conventions. Either if you have a R release, you have to have the XRYP.p, and then the LTS is XYP. And all this is documented in the blog, and you'll see a bunch of examples on 4D's GitHub. So that's really cool. And let's talk about a major quality of life improvement in 20R9 for component development. Until now, working on your own components meant constantly switching between host and component environments, reloading projects, or restarting just to test small changes. Now that's over. With this release, you can now edit and debug shared component methods and classes directly from your host project, as long as the component includes its source code. And I will pass the torch back to Ad, and he can show you how he is putting this to use, has been putting this to use himself.
Hey guys, so back to me again, and I'm going to first by showing you a simple component that we have created recently. This component does nothing more than defining a print setting and allowing you to save it on a disk. Okay, so this is the source code. All right, so we have just a few methods here. So very straightforward. So for example, if I'm executing this method, it's going to show up, the print dialog. If I want to make to save this setting, I can click print and define the name of the print setting and click OK. All right. So everything is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go through the saving of the settings. So just want to show you just basic functionality. And this component is, again, it's available to be used by any host database. So I'm going to go ahead and close this folder and go back here. And here is a simple host application I created. In fact, it's empty at the moment. All right, you can see there's nothing in here. And what I want to do is installing my component, and I'm going to utilize the project dependency. Okay. from here, I'm going to go to the desktop and go find my component. Okay, click Add. And I need to restart for the component to get installed correctly. So now you can see that the component is there. I'm going to go ahead and close this window. Let's take a look at the components section in Explorer. You can see all of these components methods are here. I'm going to create a simple method here just to make a simple call to this one of the component methods. So save that. And I'm going to go ahead and call it. So you can see that you get the same exact behavior as before. Now, a nice thing about this new feature is that, if you're working with multiple components or even one component, and you don't want to have to quit and, restart the component in order for you to make modification, you can do it directly from here. So you can right click and say, go to definition, and you can make, some changes over here. So for example, I can make changes to my comment here, which is, okay, 06, that's today. Oh, I changed the date. There may be something else. Please define your print setting. Okay. All right, let's save that. And if I call it again, you can see that the changes that I made actually reflected a component. It doesn't need to be reloaded in any way, so it automatically applied to the current session that you have right now. You can also go directly and double click on any of these component methods and make modification directly through the Explorer, which makes it very convenient. Another important thing is that if you are in client and server development, which are also available in project mode through the connection dialog, if you enable the activate development mode, you will be able to have the same exact behavior. That is, you can access the component source, and then you will be able to make modifications the same way as what you do here in a standalone, which makes it very nicely for component developer. Okay, so yeah, hopefully you guys can get a really good use out of this feature. That's it for me. Back to you, Will.
Thanks, Ad. Really cool. Thank you for the demo. Here we go. On 20R9, we're not just updating, we're also evolving how you write and manage code. Let's talk about deprecation warnings. For the first time, 40 actively flags deprecated language elements, commands, constants, and more the moment you use them. No more wondering if you're building on outdated ground. Sure, you can still type them in manually, but now code completion won't be offered anymore for deprecated commands, neither in 4D's editor or in VS Code. And that silence, that's intentional. It's your signal to move forward. And we've also expanded the command name command, so you can check programmatically whether your command is deprecated. That means you can finally audit and upgrade your code base with real insight, not guesswork. Now, this shift isn't about disruption, it's about progress. Cleaner, future-ready code that aligns with 4D's best practices. And if you need time to adjust, you can always disable the warnings in your application preferences. So, very cool. Moving on to labels. The label wizard in 20R9 got a serious boost, not just in usability, but in security. You can now get a dedicated formula button and menu option to insert formulas directly into your label patterns. Draw the area, write the formula in the formula editor, validate it, and you're done. It's as smooth as it sounds. Editing is just as fast too. Double click, open the editor, make your changes, and move on. But here's the real win. We're not just helping you work faster, we're helping you protect your logic. Thanks to the formula editor's built-in command filtering, disallowing risky commands and methods are automatically blocked, preventing potentially malicious formulas at the source. That's security baked in. No extra steps, no added complexity. And let's pop into the TCP world and why 20R9 is a game changer. So in the latest release of 20R8, we introduced the TCP connection so you can build the client-side connection inside 4D. But that's just half the story. What about the server? Now with TCP Listener, you can create the full TCP server directly in 4D, managing incoming connections, event handling, and more. And even better, both TCP connection and listener share a unified class structure. That means one consistent interface for both sides of a connection, lower mental load, and more reusable code. So, and if you use that, that's great. It was a hot topic that was requested a lot in the forums. So we saw that and we're happy to see that that's coming along. And we're going to continue to bring more. So right now we're doing the TCP IP. Next, I imagine it's going to be UDP. So finally, one of the most important updates in 20R9 is how $4D interacts with embedded web areas. Before this release, if you expose $4D, you expose all your project methods, which is an obvious risk and a headache for modular design. Now you define the rules. With the WA set web area set context command, you can control exactly which functions are exposed, either as tightly scoped methods or selected project methods. So in short, modular, secure, and easier to maintain code. And today's web applications often require secure interactions with third-party systems. For example, validating an email address usually requires you to send an email, ask the end user to click a button from their mail client. In this case, you do not control which client or which browser will be used. Other cases you can think of are interactions with some specific APIs involving redirection or callback to your application, or also simply providing a way for your end user to switch from a device to another using a link you can generate. So in 20R9, we introduced the create OTP function on the session object to handle such workflows easily. You just have to create a one-time passcode tied to a specific session. This OTP, or one-time passcode, can be used in a URL you generate for the user to open or for a callback. When this URL is used, 4D Server will safely retrieve the original session and won't consume any extra licenses. Of course, this OTP can only use one-time passcode. So it's a very nice and intuitive way to set OTPs, and just another major improvement in 4D. So, okay, so next, developer questions. We went through a lot of developer things, and we have a question. So someone asked, does NetKit address other browser plugins in the web browser? Use OKTA, OKTA authentication, or Auth0. Under R8, do you still have to use an external browser or the Apple Microsoft OAuth API for secure user identity? So there's a lot of questions there.
So in the example that I showed to you, and this is the same as the one that we did for R7 and R8, I used the web area as the mean to perform the authentication. So everything is done within the context of 4D. That's why I was able to redirect, close the window, and reopen a new window to display the calendar. So yeah, you can use the web area to do that without having to rely on external browser.
And you were also able to use an external browser, whatever, Chrome or whatever, when you first showed the. And then I guess, does it use Auth0 or Okta? I think the answer is no. I'm not super familiar with those. I do know that it supports the Auth 2.0. And if you do need, if you're unable to bridge the gap, and we do publish the source code of the 4D NetKit, and if you do need to expand it, you are able to fork it, or you can ask for a feature request in the forums, and the team can evaluate that. Let's keep going. Next is on to deployment. So Starting with Mac OS Sequoia, Apple now uses an application's UUID, not just its name, to manage privacy and security permissions, such as local network access. Now, in the past, all 40 applications shared the UUID of the 40 volume desktop or 40 server. And this caused problems if multiple apps had the same UUID. macOS could confuse their permissions. And now in 20R9, that's fixed. Every built 40 app now gets its own unique UUID generated automatically based on an app ID and the 40 source version. So nothing manual for you to do. It's fully automatic, better privacy handling, and it is compatible with the Build 4D component. Next is the 40View Pro news. So working with 40View Pro often means importing complex documents, and many of them include custom functions and do a lot of work. The challenge, knowing when all those functions are finished before moving on to actions like exporting, printing, or even saving. In 20R9, the import commands, import object, import document, import form object, or form blob and form object, now delay their callback until all custom functions have been fully resolved. This means you get reliable timing when your callback runs. All the formulas are done. No race conditions, no half-rendered exports. So, and there's a bunch of benefits here, but a few could be, it works great with off-screen areas, especially for automated workflows. Custom callback logic lets you trigger exports only when the doc is fully ready. And this also applies to the VP flush commands, which now support a callback formula trigger after asynchronous calculations. So bottom line, your 40View Pro workflows are now predictable, especially when working with big documents with dynamic or custom calculations. So very cool. Again, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Someone just mentioned it in the chat saying that the team has been really working hard. I agree. The team has been working hard, and it's really great to present all of these, to learn, present, and play with all the new features. And I hope you all get to go. And I invite you all to visit the blog. It's a place where all the features get started. That's where the team starts to present, and then for us to then go and play in our own sandboxes. So very cool. And I want to say thank you all for an hour and a half a webinar. It's been great. Showing you all the features, having the discussions, and really good questions. Appreciate them. If you would, please provide feedback. We always use it to help us get better. And yeah, it helps us learn and be better at what we do. And have a great rest of your day, evening, morning, wherever you may be. And we'll talk soon. And I can't wait to see you for the next 20R10 webinar. Thank you.